Hello children, today we are going to discuss about sexual reproduction. Children, the formation of new plants through the fusion of male gamete and female gametes is called sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction, children, carried out only in flowering plant. The plant which are having flower, sexual reproduction takes place only in those plants. Usually a flower contain both, generally children, flower contains both male and female reproductive cells. Now I am going to tell you what are female reproductive parts of the flower and male reproductive parts of the flower. Children, in this green part is called sepal. Sepal protects the flower when it is in the bud form. Then petals, they are colorful, they are very attractive, they attract insects for pollination. Third is that white color you are seeing, this is female part and female part is called pistil. Female part of the plant is called pistil. Pistil has three parts: stigma, style, ovary. Okay, this swollen part is ovary, this tubular part is style, and upper part where pollen grain come and stay, this is called stigma. And inside the ovary there are female gametes. Female gametes, we call that ovules. So it is clear, ovules are inside the ovary, three parts of pistil: stigma, style, ovary. Female part is called pistil, and inside the pistil, inside the ovary, what is there? Ovules. Now come to the male part. Male part you are seeing, this is filament. These are what? Stamens. What do we call these? You are seeing stamen. When you see stamen closely, you will see it is having two parts. One is this filament and other is pouch like structure. We call it anther. We call it anther. In this anther, large number of pollen grains are present. These pollen grains are male gamete. So male gamete, pollen grains; female gamete, ovules. Is this clear? Children, some flowers, they are having only female part in them, and some flowers, they are having male parts only, like papaya, corn. So such flowers which are having only one reproductive organ, like male or female, we call that unisexual flower. And some flowers which are having both, they are called bisexual flower. Okay, or complete flower, unisexual, incomplete flower. Now children, our next topic is pollination. Okay, next topic is pollination. What is pollination? Pollination is when pollen grain, the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. Okay, from anther to the stigma of the flower. Now all you remember what is anther. Inside the anther, what are there? Pollen grains. So transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma is called pollination. Now children, you know that one plant is there. Suppose it has many flowers. Okay, this is flower and it has both like hibiscus. Okay, it has both stigma also and this anther also. So they can move from anther of the same flower and they reach to the stigma of same flower or same plant. Same plant is there. So from the anther of this flower to the stigma of this flower, when the pollen grain they transfer. What I told you, I am repeating. The pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma of same flower or on another flower of the same plant. Is called self-pollination. Is called self-pollination. Sometimes children, what happen? Pollen grain, they move with the help of pollinating agents like water, air, insects, animals from one flower to the flower of other plant. Flower of other plant. Such condition we call this cross pollination. Cross pollination. Okay. Now, I am repeating what is cross pollination. The pollen grains are transferred from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of a different plant, but the plants would be of same kind. Like this is hibiscus, then it has also be hibiscus. Clear, children? So pollination is clear. Self-pollination and cross-pollination. Now I am coming to the agents of pollination. As I told you, they need some agents for the transfer. Agents we are going to discuss, agents of pollination. Now first agent is wind. Children, I am going to tell you wind pollinated like flower, they are very small. The pollen grain of such flowers are small, flowers are very small. Such wind blows away pollen grain from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower. Such flowers are small, not brightly colored. Wind pollinated flowers, like the flowers in which wind pollination takes place, they are small, not brightly colored. Why? They don't need, because they are going to pollinate by wind. Not brightly colored. Okay, they need not to attract insect because they are going to pollinate by wind, and do not produce nectar. They don't want to attract insects. Okay. So pollen grains are very light. Pollen grains which are like dispersed by wind, they are very light and they produce in large number. They are produced in large number. Why? Reason behind this, because they are going to produce in large number. Why they are produced in large number? You know, because they are pollinated by wind. Many are going to be destroyed. Some are going to reach to their destination, means the flower they are going to pollinate. This type of pollination occurs in wheat, rice, maize. Wheat, rice, maize. Okay. Now next is water pollinated. Pollination in aquatic plants like lotus, Vallisneria. Okay. Pollination in aquatic plants such as lotus, Vallisneria, seagrass is usually carried out by water. Water pollinated flowers release their pollen grains in water. Okay. Into the water. These pollen grains are slowly carried to other flowers by water. Water is flowing, so these pollen grains are carried by flowing water, by water current. Okay, carried by water current to other flowers, like suppose lotus is here. Okay, pollen grain they will drop here and then they move to other flower with water current. Now third is insect pollinated. Insect pollinated. Many insects visit flowers for nectar during the process. Some pollen grains stick to the, like you know children, like I am talking about uh, butterfly. Suppose this is flower, okay, stigma style ovary is there, and when butterfly sits on this, okay, pollen grain like anther burst and pollen grain, they stick to the body of butterfly, stick to the body of butterfly. ठीक है? When the insect visit, this insect is going to visit another flower, the pollen grains fall on the stigma of other flower. Insect pollinated flowers usually have a sweet smell. This sweet smell attract the insects, okay. They are brightly colored, they are having brightly colored petals and rich in nectar. So what three things I told you? Sweet smell, brightly colored petals, and they are rich in nectar. For example, rose, sunflower and gulmohar. Flower visited by nocturnal animals means which move in like in night. They are active during night. Insects, these nocturnal insects, they pollinate white flowers. Children, you know jasmine and all, they are pollinated by nocturnal insects. So what is the specialty of those flowers? They are sweet smelling flowers. They are white in color, okay, white or light green petals, but are often, they are having strong scented smell. Example, jasmine. So jasmine and cacti, they are pollinated by nocturnal insects. ठीक है? Nocturnal insects. Now children, what happened after pollination has taken place? Pollen grains, they have reached to the stigma. I am showing you what, just you see. This is stigma style ovary. The red one is stigma, this white one is style, and the green is ovary. Okay, and pollen grains, you can see this light yellow, okay, stamens, so many stamens you can see, okay, and anther, you are able to see yellow color anther. In anther, innumerable pollen grains are there. So you are seeing this is male part, that very tiny, and this is female part. Female part is what? Stigma style ovary. Okay. Now what happened after pollination? As I shown you, this is stigma, this is style, and this is ovary. Now pollen grains, after pollination you can find pollen grains here on stigma. The pollen grains, now first step, the pollen grain absorbs the nutrient secreted by stigma. Okay, nutrient is secreted by stigma, they are taken up by the pollen grain. After taking the nutrition, now these pollen grains, they are going to grow. How? Outer wall is going to dissolve, inner wall, okay, turn into tube, form tube. This tube will form like this, and we call it pollen tube. This tube is formed here, and inside this there is a male gamete. What is there? Male gamete. This male gamete will travel in this pollen tube. This pollen tube will reach in the ovary. Okay? A thin tube grows out of the pollen grain. The pollen tube keeps growing till it reaches the ovule inside the ovary. These here ovules are arranged. Okay, the male gamete is carried inside the pollen tube, as I told you. Once the pollen tube reaches the ovule, this male gamete is traveling, and when it reaches to the ovule, this male gamete fuse with the female gamete. This is female gamete. Female gamete. Now male and female gamete, when they fuse, they will form this structure, one single celled structure. This is called zygote. Okay, zygote. And fusion of male and female gamete is called fertilization. A zygote is formed after fertilization takes place. Now children, what happens after fertilization? After fertilization, the ovary this enlarges, and the petals they dry up and they shed off. Okay, petals they dry up, they shed off. This ovary is swollen. This ovary it stores food, and the walls of ovary, the ovary enlarges to form fruit. Suppose this is guava. Ovary enlarges and form fruit. The walls of the ovary become the fruit wall. This wall, now this is like this. Okay, this turn into like this. The ovules become seeds. These ovules you are seeing, they become what? Seeds. These are now, so ovary turned into fruits, and ovules turned into seeds. And inside the seed, this baby is there. A fruit may have one or more seeds. Petals, sepals, and other part of the flower, they dry up and they fall off. Now this fruit protect these seeds. Okay, the fruit is the seed bearing part of the ripened ovary. This ovary is now ripened ovary. Ripened ovary. The seeds is the ripened ovary which contain an embryo. In these seeds, they contain embryo. Embryo is what? Zygote, you know. Zygote is single celled. Zygote is single celled. This zygote divides, the cells they divide and form group of cell. This group of cell is called embryo. Where is this embryo? Inside the seed. This embryo is, suppose this is seed. Inside this, like gram seed, you can see the embryo is small embryo. Okay, so embryo is there. The seed is the ripened ovule which contains an embryo and is covered by protective seed coat. Up seed is in sleeping state. Okay. When this seed gets favorable condition like warmth and moisture and food. When this seed will get these three things, warmth, moisture and food, it will start germinating. Children, you know, for germination you must have done this activity in your previous classes. You have soaked this gram seed in water, means you are giving it moisture, and the food present in the seed is the food for this embryo or baby. Okay, the process by which embryo in the seed becomes active and begin to grow into a new plant is called germination. When a seed has matured and suitable condition of air, water and warmth. Air is also very important. Air, water and moisture. Air, warmth and moisture are available, the seed germinates. Otherwise, it lies inactive till condition for germination become favorable. Okay, now after this seed is formed, how this seed will disperse? Seed dispersal is very important, otherwise if seed will not disperse, they will grow at one place, they will not get proper condition to grow and they will die. Okay, the seed enclosed in the fruits need to separate from its parent plant before it can develop into a new plant. Fruits are adapted in different ways to help in dispersal. I am going to tell you one by one. Okay, first is dispersal by explosion. Dispersal by explosion. Children, you have seen like lady's finger. Very good example. Lady's finger. You have seen lady's fingers like this. Okay. When this covering dries up inside, many seeds are there. This pod, what happened? In the simplest way, seeds are automatically set free by opening the fruit. An explosive mechanism burst the fruit open to release the seeds. For example, pea plant, मटर वाले में भी होता है, castor and balsam. Okay. Now next is dispersal by wind. Some seeds, second is by wind, dispersal of seed by wind. Some seeds have thread or wing that form a parachute so that they can be carried long distance by even the gentlest breeze, like dandelion and drumstick and maple. And also children, cotton. Children, you have seen cotton fibers, they have black seed. Okay, how this seed disperse in your school, you must have seen. These fibers, they are very light. When the gentle breeze take place, they move from one place to other. Suppose they dropped here, from here they will move to the other place. Dispersal will take place. So example I told you, dandelion, drumstick and maple. Third is by water. Water, very nice example, coconut. Coconut tree is there. Okay, coconut fruits are there and the seeds are there inside this fruit. What happened? This fall, drop, okay, and float on water. You have seen coconut is having husk fibers that makes the coconut light. That is why this coconut floats on water, and this husk carry this fruit to the great distance. Okay, by water current they move to the great distance, and somewhere they stopped to wash up on the beaches. For example, as I told you, coconut. Dispersal by animal. This is very easy. All you know, you have seen monkeys, they come to your place. Dispersal by animals. They eat fruit from the plant and they move from your place to other place. They eating that fruit and they drop the seeds to other place. Sometimes they eat the fruit along with the seed and they defecate in other places. So seed is there protected by seed coat, and when the favorable condition will come, it will grow. Some birds eat fruits whose seeds stick to their beaks and then are rubbed off or somewhere else. Seeds of other fruits pass intact through a bird's digestive tract. Some fruits are covered with little hooks or sticky. You have seen some fruits they have spines. They stick to the body of cows and buffalo. They sit on some places. So these seeds, they stick to their bodies. Okay, and they also move from one place to other place. Now ducks may disperse fruits sticking in their mud on their feet. So ducks, they also help in the dispersal of seeds. So that's all, children. Okay, children.